Hello, glad everyone's here. Just had to do some minor adjustments. Y'all know who we are. We're all tuned in to uh, BlackUSA.news, BeMoreNews.com, and Donnie Glover Productions. Y'all know who I am. My name is Marty States. I call my show I'm Marty. Let's talk. Let's talk. The format here, if everybody doesn't know, we use our panel. We jump around on a few different topics. We let everybody chime in. Our luxurious, I see in order. Our guest tonight, my usual friend, Rosanna, Dana, Anna, Gina Lee. Next to them is my nephew, my great nephew, and his lovely wife, Brittany. Frank is the owner of Swift Electric. Brittany is the owner of If You Break the Law, I Guess You May or May Not Go to Jail. She's a young black lawyer. Next to them, we'll ease our way down to my lovely wife, whose name you may know, Tate, because that's my wife. Hi, Cece.
Hey, baby.
Next, and my, as usual, who I always have in the end, my uncle, who's always there when I need him. And if I didn't get a chance to tell you, Al, man, I appreciate all you do, Al Wise. I'll let people a little later talk about other things that they do. Frank also owns Swift Electric. Al Wise has a line of eyeglass eyewear. So if you know him, we all call him a big Al. My line was always short, fat, loud, good-looking guy. Well, Al is in that system, but only he's the tall, good-looking guy. Al is a dresser. He's a big guy that likes clothes, you know what I mean? And not only does he like clothes, he likes glasses. So I meant that while we're on that subject, Al, are your glasses real, or is that just you showing your merchandise? Do you really wear eyeglasses?
Yeah, your mic is muted, Al.
Your mic is muted, Al.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, do you really wear eyeglasses?
I really wear eyeglasses. I'm blind as a bat. If I take these glasses,
I know, because Al got a lot of glasses.
Frank and Brittany, the only ones on this whole panel that can see.
We still young. We
got you.
Frank and Brittany, the only ones. Frank and Brittany, the only ones on the panels in their 30s, probably. You know what I mean? So that's that. Hey, y'all, listen, that's what the format is. We go around the room, talk about a few topics and stuff. Let me get this in. One time I ran short of my prayer. Frank and Brittany are used to this. Every time we have family outings, before we do anything, we the Taters. We're a praying family. We pray before we eat. We pray before we go out and play. We pray before we do anything. So let me get my quick prayer in. At the end of that prayer, I always end with a quick moment of silence for the persons that aren't here, and then I move right along. Prayer start. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in our lives. Father God, please direct the panel. Please stay in our heart. Please touch everybody that's doing these wonderful things. Father God, as usual, we always pray for conclusion to this pandemic. And last but not least, we always fight and pray for those people over there fighting the God-forsaken wars all over the world while we sit home and relax and do podcasts and stuff. To everybody in there that's doing those things, thank you for your service. Quick moment of silence, y'all. Think about someone who needs it. Okay, amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all. How's everybody today?
Good.
Everybody good?
Good.
Doing great.
That's what's up. Yeah. All right. What we're gonna do today, I think we'll move right along. Rosanna Dan is up the top. If y'all don't know how this thing works, I do my thing. I talk for a minute, and when it's your turn to jump in, I segue in with my smooth line that I always use. It goes simple as this, and then you come and I say, I'm Marty. Let's talk, Gina Lee. What's your topic for today?
Well, I thought I'd think of something that.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
That was me.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I'd think of something that. I'm sorry. I thought I'd think of something that touched you as well as me, which is Druid Hill Park Pool. We've been a part of that pool for the better part of our lives. And I thought I'd share some history real quick with the rest of the panel, if you don't know, and our viewing audience who might know or might not. So in 1906, the very first public pool was erected, and that was at Patterson Park, but it was white only. Okay. And then in 1921, they erected a black pool at Druid Hill Park for black patrons. Now, that is not the pool that everybody rides past that's next to the tennis courts. The black pool is way up in the park, past traffic signals. And as I said, that was 1921. But because it was black only, it was so crowded, they had to actually usher the patrons in shifts. So 1924, they built a white pool, which is the one we ride past that's next to the tennis courts. Okay. That was white only. And then in 1953, a 13-year-old black boy drowned in Patapsco River. And he was with two white friends. And the reason they went to the river is because the pools in his neighborhood were white only. And he wanted to swim with his friends. So his friends went with him to the river, but the black boy drowned. So due to public outcry, Lillian Carroll Jackson put legislation in front of the courts to try to get the public pools integrated. Well, she lost her first fight, but she did win in 1956. Now, I was born in 57, so this isn't that long ago. So 56, all the pools were integrated. They closed the black pool in 1957. And everybody used the pool that we know of today that's next to the tennis courts. So 1957 to 1999, the black pool sat abandoned all that time. But the city finally got a artist named Joyce Scott to turn it into a memorial. And so the lifeguard chairs, the diving boards, the ladders are all still there. So I would ask that all of you take a moment and ride through Druid Hill Park and find the black pool. That was pool number 2 in this city. Pool number 1 was Patterson Park, which was white only. Pool number 2 was for blacks, and it is still there, but it's grassed in now. But the ladders, the diving board structure, the lifeguard chair, all of that is still there. Even the building that held the locker rooms. So, I mean, they didn't even start hiring women lifeguards until 1941. You know, so just as a tidbit as a milestone, in 1962, thousands of white people threw bottles and bricks at 35 black swimmers in the Riverside Park pool. And just so happened, among those 35 blacks was a young Elijah Cummings, who got cut by the glass. Wow. So as you see, time has, progressed, and we've kind of hurdled those milestones. Even though, even up to 1971, Meadowbrook would not allow blacks into their facility. So that's only, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Wow. So just keep in mind, and that we need to teach our children that it hasn't been that long. When people talk about slavery, they act like it was such a long time ago. Yeah, it was 400 years.
Okay.
But the fact is, segregation and Jim Crow and all of that took place within this past 100 years. And we need to, kind of spread the word.
Gina, first of all, very informative. Thank you. I'm going to tell you something about my show that I call Untitled Marty, Let's Talk, while I do my podcast in the direction it goes. So as I always say, Donnie Glover from BlackUSANews.com has several of these different formats. Every night is a different format. You have Sister Talk, you have something, another one I was on. If you just go down the line, you'll see them. Some of them in the morning from 10 to 11, Donnie Glover mostly talks about politics. Irvin Reed is he runs a lot of campaigns and stuff. A guy that I went to high school with, been friends with over 50 years. He was on there the other day. Donnie is wow, he's an author. He's a Channel 11 political analyst. He's a tough, regular, every dude. So he puts these things together, y'all, for us to get our own platform. Now, that being said, I seen while you were talking, Gina Lee, we saw Gwenny come in, Mary Hartman. We called her Gwenny, Gina, and all of us. We come from Druid Hill Park Pool as teenagers. We worked there when we were 16, 17, 18 years old, and we all remained there. We all had grown-up jobs, and we still worked there in the summer anyway. Shout out, rest in peace, our fearless leader, Carol Turner. And swam there. When people talk, when Gina came with this topic, it touches her because Gina is a female lifeguard. You know what I mean? Gwenny Cobbs and them, all of us work together at Druid Hill. Let me say this real quick. It's funny. I played tennis sometimes back in the day. I'm just realizing from this information, this Donnie Glover, and Be More News always says information is power. Do you know this swimming pool that she's talking about is right next to the tennis court up there at I call the atrium, because when you rent moon bouncers and stuff like that from this pavilion, the name of it is the atrium. That's where, let's call it the bathrooms. In Druid Hill Park, you have spider pots in most of them, but one of them there's a bathroom. And next to that bathroom is the atrium pavilion. Across from the atrium pavilion is that swimming pool that she talked about, the black-only swimming pool. You know why I realize it? The guard chair is still there. It's filled in with grass and stuff, correct? This is some information and knowledge that I've been riding by for 50 years and never knew. Never noticed. That is why people, please support this. BlackUSA.News, Donnie Glover. Please support this man that's giving us a platform to talk about some of these topics and stuff. Carol Turner was our manager, our fearless leader. And she too, remember at that time, was a kid. She reminds me of a Brittany. She was like 20, 21 years old, but she was in school and the boss. And remember, we were heavy hitters then. I don't care where you came from, how tough you supposed to be. We ain't care. We had our own gang. Y'all came over there to terrorize because you from Poplar Grove. You came over there to terrorize. You from Cherry Hill. I'm going to tell you something else. Don't ever get it twisted. White Lock ain't nothing to fool with. You can talk about where you from and how tough your neighborhood is. Believe you me, them White Lock niggas want rat too. Right, Gina? We used to have to fight them on a daily basis. So that's a lot of information that I appreciate having, is knowledge that happened personally to me. So that's a good point to start in my heart. Thank you for that. Water comes in my heart may come out my eyes, because that's where I started. That's where my kids played at. That's where I learned hard work, at Druid Hill Park Pool. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to jump around to my wife, because I know what her topic is. And Gina, you just gave her segue in. So I'll slide in there with my smooth self. Hey, Brittany and Frank, see how I do that? How I segue in? The lawyers, y'all need to learn that. Maybe, Brittany, before you start one of your cases, maybe I could come in the courtroom and like segue in and say something like, "That's Brittany Tate. Let's talk."
Hey, everybody can use a hype man.
Trying to get you all away fired, okay? Brittany need her job. Leave Brittany alone.
Hey, listen, let me segue in. CC, Miss Tate, what's your topic today? I'm Marty. Let's talk.
I just wanted to speak really quickly on the topic of the George Floyd trial. As if you don't know, the city of Minneapolis, slow down, gave him a 27, gave his family a 20.
I think we say, excuse me to cut you off, but as being black, we like to say Minneapolis.
I know I almost said Minneapolis, but I'm going to go with Minneapolis, the real name. But anyway, they awarded him a $27 million, his family a $27 million civil lawsuit. And it just so happened that the award was given during the trial of ex-officer Derek Chauvin, who is the officer who had his knee on George Floyd's neck for over 8 minutes. And they were selecting the jurors at the time when the civil award was given. So the announcement was made during a lunch break when the jurors were at lunch, and some of the jurors, even though they can't watch any news or anything that's related to the case, they're still allowed to access social media, and they can have their phones and look at social media during the break. So first of all, everybody, if you can look at the news, you definitely shouldn't be able to look at social media, because most people in this day and time, that's how they access the news, through social media. So, and being as though this has been a really hot topic for the last 10 months, I mean, all you have to do is click on in your news feed and it's going to come up if something significant happened in the case. Well, excuse me. The defense lawyers are trying to argue that this announcement, that the timing of the announcement is going to taint the juror pool. So I thought that was an interesting argument. They want to postpone, they want to change a venue, they want all of these things, but I just don't see the sense in it, because everybody, unless they've been underground on Mars for the last 10 months, has some kind of knowledge of what's going on with this case. So they coming up with different things to sequester the jury for not just the duration of the trial, but during the whole deliberation. So I just thought that was really interesting, how they are trying to and willing to make so many concessions for this murderer, and they think it's going to be I don't know what jury pool that they think that they could possibly choose from, of people that haven't heard of or have some knowledge of this case. So they wanted to, they had five out of the 16 jurors said that they saw the news, and 4 said that they could still remain objective. Well, they didn't choose any of those 5. So I just see that this is playing out in a way that, in my opinion, that they're really still trying to cater to this murderer. And they think that, that people are going to say that there's no need, the jurors will say there's no need to convict him because the family already got a large settlement. And anybody who is from that school of thought doesn't really even understand what this is all about. No matter, $27 million is a lot of money, and I would love to even have half of it. But at the end of the day, it won't bring George Floyd back. This is about more than money. And it's just so disheartening that they always think that, especially people of color, that we have a price. Give them some money, they'll go away. you know, and I really, really hope that justice can be served in this case, but it's kind of looking kind of sketchy to me right now. So, what do you think?
understand.
I'm gonna piggyback off that because can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off that because that's a real issue. Like everybody think money's gonna solve a problem. And it's sad because I mean I deal with a lot of young people and they just like if I only had money, like money. They in this case they want to give money for life. It's money is not the answer. Like I don't care how much money you get. Like you say, them kids, Floyd kids, they missing out on prime influence. You know what I mean? Like we have to like when I say influence, I'm talking about that time. That you can't buy time.
Absolutely.
You can't, and so I get offended when people just be like money. You can't solve no problem with money to me. You can be happy. Don't get it wrong. You can go buy some foolish stuff that you don't need. You know what I mean? But you need a little money for a little roof on your head, a little food. But money cannot always be the bread and I don't know. Money can't always be that. And I get offended even hearing that they even like, you know,
right.
That's the solution.
And
that's the solution.
When,
get a family money. I don't. I
and
get
when
agitated.
you and
I'm
when
a
you
black
say
man.
that,
I get agitated.
right. And when you say that, people think that money can't buy. Of course, I mean we're in the real world. We all need money.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We all need money. But how much, as a parent, do you say that your child's life is worth? You know, is your child's life just worth $27 million? You know, I mean, that's crazy that a life is priceless. So no price tag. You can't give a life, so you shouldn't take a life. You know, so no price tag can be put on a person's life. You know, just like you said, Frank, those children are still going to miss quality time with their father. You know that they could never get back for any amount of money. So I think that it's just insulting that somebody would even suggest that would be enough, that should solve the problem, because that is not justice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Good points, both people. Excellent panel. Excellent panel. I can say hi to Majid, that's in the backstage. That's my wife's bestie. Twila Muhammad, she's on our usual panel and stuff like that. And she had PTA, anything that has to do with the kids, she's in there. And Gwenny, Mary Hartman, hello, thanks for chiming in, part of our Druid Hill Park family and everybody. Okay, we'll use for a moment to jump in here. The conversation that she said that they may be looking for a mistrial or what have you is funny. And I want my producer, Donnie Glover, and BlackUSA.News to know how smooth I was already having a lawyer on deck for this topic. my esteemed leader, Donnie Glover, calls it dribbling left. Party, you got to be able to segue in. You got to be able to fake it. Tonight he was 2 minutes late, but we won't say that because he's the boss. You know what I mean? We all sitting out here in panic room, making sure we're on the right podcast and all that. Frank and Brittany are new, so they want to make sure that we're where we're supposed to be. And Donnie was 2 minutes late, but moving right along. Let me ask you a question, Brittany. This isn't your forum, but you being a lawyer, is there any grounds for mistrial or to get this thing tainted in what they're using as far as what Cece said, because the jurors already knowing about the settlement?
Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, Unc. Now don't stone me. Because
that's what you're here for.
The justice system is you're innocent until proven guilty. And like I said, don't stone me, but them putting that information and settlement out there already has people with the presumption of guilt because you've now paid this family. And don't get me wrong, I think the officer was fully wrong in the situation, but you've already put this presumption of guilt out there. So now he's guilty and you have to prove his innocence. From a lawyer standpoint, I understand them going after a mistrial. Do I think they have grounds for it? Not at all. Because like CC said, it's a national case at this point. There's no way you can not have people that know about it, and there's not going to be bias sitting on that panel. Police officers killing black men is like a big topic now. You can't just skip over or act like people don't know and they don't ever have biases going into the situation. So I don't think they have grounds, but I mean, they'll try. I mean, I understand their reason for trying, but I don't think they'll be successful with it.
Well, once again, feather in my cap. I don't know, I feel good about my panel this evening. How everybody's jumping in. Carol Sherman, how you doing, my good friend from work, who never complains about anything? And I'm just talking about the topics we discussed. Gina kept us in the loop with Druid Hill Park and surrounding pools that we just see as a play area. She gave us some knowledge in the background of it, the format, where it came from. We jumped on to my lovely wife, Cece, whose topic was George Floyd and $27 million settlement. And they're talking about because some of the jurors got wind of it, and we want to know if they will be biased about it. Frank made a great point and stuff like that, whom on this show we talk about things. Frank's nephew, Frank is my great nephew. His uncle, which is his father's brother, Terrell, is lost to crime and violence. He's dead. You know what I mean? I don't know. Margie and Tate are a well-to-do, prominent family. His parents, who
His
had money. You know, my father's, my brother, his grandparents. All right, had money. No, Frank, that was Terrell's parent. Anyway, moving right along. So here's a family, like I'm saying, that has money. You know what I mean? They wouldn't trade Terrell for $27 million. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? You don't know what life is about. We know it as a settlement, but like Frank, Frank's a regular guy in the turf. But Frank's not as talkative as the rest of us, but if it touches his nerve, he's a prominent member of society. He's an electrician and a business owner. And now I'm going to segue in. That was my format. Here's where I segue into Frank and Brittany, whose topic just came up, and I'll find out what they're talking about. But I do know that this is two young persons who came up with some real lofty dreams as young people. Now, if you ask Uncle Maurice from the start, could they accomplish it? Sure, they probably could. But I wouldn't have told them right then that they would. Because Frank is a regular guy. He was an electrician, but he wanted his own company. And Brittany, whom is very, very attractive, you can see is a pretty girl. So I never knew she was smart. I thought Frank was fooling with a jack. I don't look at my show because she was pretty. Brittany's pretty. So I didn't know she was going to be smart. Frank said, she going to school to be a lawyer. Okay, who doesn't want to be a lawyer? I want to be a doctor. But when you're talking to somebody that's 19 years old, saying you want to be a lawyer, a young black person like herself, and a female, Gina, as you say, I really just thought she had lofty, dreams. My wife's best friend, Majid, is online listening. She's gone back to school at 40-some years old, probably going into her 50s now, to be a nurse, RN. So if she asked me, she left from here in Baltimore, moved to Las Vegas to better her life, and went back to school. So if you ask me what she had done, hey, we all make 80, 90, or six figures anyway at our job. For you to leave your job to go to a whole nother state, country, whatever the hell Vegas is, you know what I mean, to better yourself and pursue your education, to me, Gina, at 45 years old, absolutely not. If you ask me, do I suggest it? Hell no. Let me ding, 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 ding. Hell no. But who's laughing now that Majid is getting ready to graduate in months as an RN? Give Majid a hand. Give Majid a hand, panel. Give Majid a hand. Give Majid a hand, panel. You know what I mean? We all know what that's like to get up there. So we're going to segue in right now to Frank and Brittany, who I guess living their dream, or what would be our dream, CC, if we could, have done things a little differently instead of working to get where we are now. We're happy now, but we're also up in age. Now, Frank and Brittany, if you notice the whole time, you see them swinging the kids. You see them telling somebody, get back, move out the way. Because this pursuit that they had was along the way with two children. They had to do this with two children. Frank owns Swift Electric. Shout out Swift Electric. And Brittany, ever since she was in her 20s, is a young black female lawyer. She's smart, but she's mouthy. You know what I mean? Gonna read you. You be at the cookout and stuff like that. Don't try your hand. Don't get out the gate. Don't do none of that. Don't get it twisted because I got a little piece of paper with me. I'm from, where you at? Where you from, Brittany? East Baltimore? Where you from?
Northeast.
Northeast. We call it over east. See, when you're a lawyer now, Frank, you see northeast. Oh, and what we call it, Frank, man? What we call that? Over east.
Over
See,
east.
what we call it? Lawyer degree or not, you from over east. Don't get it twisted. So I know. I didn't seen the other side of it. And guess what else? She don't play with Frank neither. So, you know, let me do my line. Donnie, I hope you're listening. Dribbling left. Let me segue in to Brittany and Frank Tate's. What's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
All right. Our topic that we wanted to talk about tonight was basically our steps to success.
Cool.
Go ahead.
No, we get this a lot. And my thing is, I don't you say success, I call it waking up every day, doing what I got supposed to do. And my thing is, it's like you gotta believe in each other.
Yeah, believe in each other. But in order to have success, one thing that we always talk about is that you first have to define what your definition of success is, because what's successful for you is not necessarily what I consider success. Like Frank will tell you that his dream was always to have a wife, two kids, a business,
and a truck,
and a truck. That's always on the list. But so that was his definition of success. And as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be an attorney. As far back as I can remember, it's never wavered. It's always been that. So what we kind of wanted to bring light to today was kind of how to, I guess, hone everything in and kind of get to where it is that you want to be. And we kind of agreed on four steps on how you can do that. With the first one being to have a team.
Teamwork. Teamwork is a big thing. I tell my kids, yeah, you can try to do it on your own, but you don't get a lot of scuffs. You're gonna get so many scuffs by the time you get there, ain't gonna be too much of you left. And my thing is, like, when I met her, she was sassy. And she told me, she said, I'm going to school to be a lawyer. And when she said it, I believed it. I was a journeyman electrician. I was on my high horse. You know what I mean? But I believe what she said. And my thing is, and I said, she wasn't even my girlfriend. She was a friend. I just said, whatever I can do to help you get there, I have your back. And we end up being good friends for a long time, and then we end up loving each other.
And then just going off that, just having a team.
Perfect step one.
Yeah. And just having a team. And I just give it to you because when I worked full time during the day, went to law school in the evening. Like you said, we had 2 children. We had a good support system. And so that's key. You need that. We had parents stepping up, siblings stepping up, helping with the children, just managing our day-to-day life, because I'm not going to say it's impossible when you have children and trying to juggle all that, but it makes it a lot harder to focus and go sit at work with confidence that your child is properly being taken care of, or just whatever the case may be. So having a team is essential.
Yeah.
You want to get, and then
number two,
being able to listen.
Yeah, a lot of people can't listen. They even think that, what you always say, common sense ain't common on. A lot of people, they just don't. I don't know what it is.
Definitely.
Just don't listen. I ain't gonna say older people. I'm gonna speak for the younger generation. They just don't listen.
We're running into the issue now where we try to give back and reach back and help, like our nieces, nephews, cousins, people in the neighborhood. But the issue is they know everything. And so that's what we run into. You can't tell them anything because they already know it. In fact, they want to teach you something. So you have to be willing to listen so that, you can be receptive and retain something that can help you get somewhere. Because I'm not that old, but I've done a little bit, and I've done a little bit more than you. So that was
they don't understand that God gave them 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Sometimes just be quiet and listen.
Yeah,
it's hard because Uncle Maurice's oldest brother is my grandfather, and he was a tough guy, but I'm glad I listened because everything that he said, it comes out my mouth every time I talk. So listening is the real skill. Listening is a real skill.
Okay, that's 2.
Number 3, stay consistent. Just you can't let distractions come your way, because you have to be super consistent. Now I'll tell you, I did 4 years of college, 2 years of grad school, 4 years of law school, at night, newborn baby, a 4-year-old son, a husband starting a business, and still having to be a wife and a friend and a mother and everything else in between, as well as Frank had to support that. You just can't let distractions get in the way. You have to be consistent, set a goal for yourself, and stick to it.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
And even for Frank, him on his journey to being a master, he had to stay consistent. It's a lot of requirements to be able to do what we both do. Whether he needed, how many hours did you need years experience?
What, 7 plus schooling, plus 2 years on as a journeyman. It was a lot of years. It was.
You sound tired just talking about it, Frank.
No, because you really had to put your head down and grind it out. Like really, you had to really just put your head down and grind it out.
Put your time in.
And I see these kids, they be like, I had one guy that worked for me. He said, I want to be where you at next year. I said, you're right. I mean, it's like a slap in the face, like it didn't take me 12 years to get here, like I'm slow or something. But you know, the kids, that's
right. But that's this new generation. They want instant gratification. They want the best things in life, but they don't want to work for them hard and do 12 years like you and Brittany. They want it right now, like tomorrow.
And my thing is like, and then they not consistent. Like I say, they work today, they ain't coming on Friday.
Not on payday. Not on payday if the weather right.
Right.
And then
you know something. Go ahead.
And what was the last?
Go ahead, Frank.
Oh yeah, the ability to lose to win. Like we don't tell. Like I don't tell my story. Like I told them, I'm a shy person. I'm a shy person. I don't like to talk a lot, but I do talk. We do talk a lot, but I don't like to all the camera podcasts. But like I say, the ability to lose to win is a real skill. I don't say it, but this one right here worked a whole year for free. She worked for free. A whole year.
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
She needed a car to get there. She needed gas to get there and pay for parking. Because you know, when you're in the office, you gotta pay for parking. And I'm looking like I'm just a little electrician, and she had to work for free. And that's my definition of learning how to lose to win, because she needed those skills to get where she is to right now. So
you know, to the person in the audience or the novice listener, Frank and Brittany jump right in there, but in case you don't know, they're new to the show. Cece's here every week, Al's here every week, Gina's every week, Twala's here every week, they're all the time. This is their first time, and they have so much to offer. I mean, they had so much to offer. They couldn't pick better topics. I feel good about myself because you're only as good as your leader. I mean, this is called I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk. I feel good about what I put together. This is an all-star team. This is Magic, Michael Jordan. This is everybody talking about some things. I want you to listen to this. This is the formats that we go through on the show every week. You just summed up, Frank and Brittany, you just summed up Gina's whole conversation last week. Gina's last week whole conversation was she started off as an actor just doing a part or two here, taking a line or two there. And when she was done, Gina, how many plays have you been in now?
29.
Gina, 29 going on 30 plays from something she just did, kicking it. But as the line you said, persistence. Stay humble. She wasn't getting paid for all these parts. I ain't getting off work and going nowhere and dress up for long as it takes them. I told you, I had her dressed as a man one time and didn't know who she was. You dumb something like that. And Gina's right. I've been knowing her for 60 years. And she was a man. So it takes time to put them on. Eddie Murphy's talking about that. Al Wise, his conversation last week, or his topic was being a man and owning up to your shortcomings, working your way through. How did you get here? How did we get here? What did you say? He called it daddy issues. Got all these grown-ass men want to make sure that everything goes their way. They want it, and they want it right now. You know what I mean? So as we, just listen to these topics and stuff to come up, if it's something that interests you, think about it and learn from it. Gina was talking about how the swimming pools in 1956 was when they were looking at being integrated. Golly, we think about slavery as 1,000,000 years ago. 1956 was literally what I would call in my lifetime. Me and Gina were born in 57. That's literally in our lifetime that they were running around with black pools and white pools. How sick is that? You know what I mean? Cece was talking about Floyd getting murdered. Don't get it twisted. Not the guy with his foot on his neck. The murderer. The murderer. You know what I mean? Brittany segue in because she is a lawyer, a young black educated woman, a lawyer that said that lawyer's job is still to do whatever he or she can do to get him off. So as she say, playing devil's advocate, don't look at the messenger, but don't believe you me, right? See, they're going to do everything they can for him not to go to jail. And the sad part, you know what we'll do, Al? We'll beat this city up and burn it down and stomp everybody all over again and think that we did some good. We just tore up CVS. Where we go get our medicine from? Sit for Burger King and we want a hamburger. That's how we solve everything. My way in. Well, these topics will jump around, and I feel like we're loaded tonight. You know what I mean? Here's our anchor, who we always pull up in the rear, our go-to person. His name is Al. Al, this is what I call. Donnie, hope you're listening. Watch me segue in. Hey, Al, what's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
My topic is, I know everybody heard of Kirk Franklin and his son over the weekend. His son reported Kirk Franklin, their little conversation they had, their little dispute they got going on. And the touch early about these children today. They feel entitled, just like like Kirk Franklin's son, he's 33 years old. And why would you record your father and provoke him to say what he say and record it and put it out there to the world to see it? Now you got people sitting there and say, well, he's a gospel singer, he's a pastor, he can't be talking like this and that. But they gotta understand, he's a man first. And I don't care what he is. My
human being.
Like, everybody comes short of God's glory. We don't do everything right all the time. And my thing is this: for his son to provoke him and did what he did to him, yeah, I would have cussed him out too, because his son was being blatantly disrespectful to him. And then he said, like Kirk told me.
Hey Al, not to cut you off, as I always say to the novice, when we're talking to novice, CC Labs, we're talking me, who don't know anything about the Kirk Franklin thing. Give us the format. What was it that happened?
Well, the Kirk Franklin thing is this. Well,
what did he do? This is my first time hearing about this.
Okay, what happened was this. Well, Kirk and his oldest son, they've been going through issues for some years now. They seek therapy and all this type of stuff like that. And Kirk had caught his son, or his son had caught him, and he recorded a conversation that they was having, and his son was getting smart with Kirk. He was saying things to his father, so his father started cussing. So Kirk Frank started cussing him out. So
right.
Kirk Franklin cussing him out, and by Kirk Franklin having this large platform in the gospel community, his son put that recording out there for everyone to see. So now you got people,
Where did he put who saw the recording? Who did he show it to or tell it to, Al?
He put it on the internet.
But he gonna be the same one that still wants some Kirk Franklin money.
Yeah. But
see that's that money thing. My thing is with that was like, I heard it, and then I was sitting there, I was looking, because I got a 12-year-old son. And I'll be looking like, man, because you want the best for him. you can't stress yourself enough how much you want the best for them. But everybody ain't gonna get it. Everybody ain't gonna get it, and it might be your child. It's gonna be the one of them that don't get it.
Right.
And guess what? And as parents, when we have those children that don't get it, we take it as a personal failure.
Right.
But all you can do is raise your children to make good decisions. But it's up to them to make those decisions. At some point, you gotta let their hand go. I always tell my children, I'm not a hand holder because I know that I taught you right from wrong. Yeah. And some of the things that you do, I know for a fact that you know better. So as they say, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink.
Amen. Yeah. And that's so true. It's just like, I think sometimes us as parents, we sit there, we want to give our kids what we didn't have. But in the same breath, my thing that what we didn't have wasn't so bad, because I think sometimes we set our children up for failure.
We do.
I was having this conversation with someone on a job a couple of days ago, and I was like, I remember when I was young, it was pouring down rain, and I asked my mother, could she take me to school? I was like, probably my freshman year of high school. My mother was like, "Hey, get the hell out of my damn house and take you to school." Excuse my language, but with us, like my children, I had 5 kids. My children, they got rides to school every day, got picked up and took them to school. So like I said, sometimes, like I said, we as parents, we can handle our children as time trying to do too much for them, to stop them, letting them earn and work for what they need to work for.
Right. And sometimes we just try to overcompensate just like you said, because we want to give them the things that we didn't have. But in the process, we have created a generation of children with a poor work ethic that feel entitled to things that they are not entitled to. And just like Brittany said, you can't tell them anything because they know everything.
So, with that being said, like I tell mine, 8 and 12, I tell them, y'all don't have nothing. I got it. Y'all don't have nothing. So don't have that attitude, because you got to earn it. I show it to them and everything. You got to show me what you can build.
Yeah.
Don't look at what I have. Show me what you can build.
Yeah.
Right. Even to this day, even my husband always laugh at me with my children, because I always tell them, I don't give them money. They're adults. You can borrow some money, but I need my money back. And I will call you and hunt you down to get it.
But that's identity. They chasing trying to find their identity. That's Kirk Franklin's son. He just trying to find his identity. Can't figure it out.
But I think what Kirk Franklin's son is, he trying to get
what?
5 minutes of fame.
Right, that's identity issues, right?
But see, another thing,
you know what it is.
Like I tell my children, my children always say, they say, you do more for this child than that child. And I had to explain this to my children. You understand, like my oldest child, when you came along, me and your mother, we were struggling. We were trying to figure it out. When your other siblings came along, we got it. We was there. So my thing is this, it might seem like that your younger siblings might gotten more than you had gotten, but my thing is they came in different times in our lives.
They don't understand the first child is the crash test dummy, Al. We be practicing on that first one. I always tell my children, this didn't come with an instruction manual. It's learn as you go along. So the first child, you the crash test dummy. By the time the next one come along, then we like, okay, I got this.
See, I tell mine, I say, you my favorite because you my only son. And I tell my daughter, you my favorite because you're my only daughter. So,
hey, like I tell you too, Brittany and Frank, y'all my favorite niece and nephew. But please do me a favor. Don't tell them because they hate us. It's funny too, as we say that, you know what I mean? Before I segue into my part, you'd be surprised who likes what. Now, Gina Lee, I always remember about Gina getting a ride to school every day. And my mother sent that ass. You walked everywhere you went. I don't know if anybody else, Al had it like this or Frank had it like this. My mother used to send us up to Poplar Grove to get the day old bakery to get bread. You know what that meant? That means when you get up to Grover's and them, you had to fight. You may have to fight. They send you out the neighborhood. You may have to fight. Gina Lee got driven to school. Her parents were their last name is Lee, something like that, but I always remember Rollins. So they got driven to school. She got picked up. I heard her talk on the show about when she finally got to catch the bus. I wish I got driven. But as I listened to Gina, as you were saying, getting driven to school was not a luxury. You didn't care for it, correct? Mike's probably off. Listen, or in and out. Anyway, here's the next thing. Let me jump into this, y'all, my little line as I segue in. My topic is the elephant in the room, the pandemic. My topic is the vaccine for the pandemic. You know what I mean? Who's going to take it? Who's not going to take it? Should we take it? Shouldn't we take it? Now,
I see Frank and Brittany giving each other the eye when you start talking about the vaccine. What's up with that?
Yeah. We'll say that because CC and I, look at our head, his arm, vaccinated. I don't know about the rest of us, but this one right here is COVID free. They hit me in this arm. I think it's going to take 2-3 weeks before it starts going to my body. So that's it. But I got mine. But we're in the medical field. You know what I mean? We work with doctors and lawyers. We work in hospital settings and stuff like that, Al and I. So we sort of believe in medicine. We believe in therapy and all those kind of things, whether they work or not. We went down to the stadium today, Raven Stadium. That's where we got our shot. And it was effortless and fast, wasn't it, C?
Yes, it was. I mean, it was really from parking to get the vaccine took about 40 minutes total.
40 minutes.
I mean, that's in line, getting a shot, getting out the line, getting back to the car. It takes longer than that. Don't you see when we order food at Collins? It takes longer than that to get meal brought to you at the store.
Right.
So this vaccine is something like that we got to think about.
Vaccine is feeling invincible.
That's what we usually do for our last 5 minutes is figure out. Go ahead. We don't have to segue into this. Brittany and Frank are going to be our topic tonight. We usually wait for who has a burning desire, but you two are the burning desire. Let's hear your young people opinion on this vaccine.
My thing is, people take the vaccine and start feeling invincible. They feel invincible. Like they get the vaccine and it's like, oh, I'm all right. My thing is like, all right, we take the vaccine, but it got to be some more education behind it. It's just not, I take a vaccine and I'm okay. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. I understand exactly what you're saying. A lot of people feel that way.
Take the vaccine, and then I got other people like, oh, once I take this vaccine, I'm back to normal. I don't think it's that smooth. I don't know. I'm no doctor. I'm an electrician. Not too wise, like my kids say. But they think they're gonna take the vet, and then it's like it's just everything's gonna be back to normal. What is that about?
I understand. Let me say this.
I think that one of the real issues is that there does need to be more education, because they talk about hesitancy in Black and brown communities, but I think it's because of lack of education, lack of people coming around to actually tell you what the do's and don'ts are, because some of the CDC guidance is confusing, and we need to just really, I don't think that it's some kind of magic bullet, because at the end of the day, the reality of the situation is that the vaccines are not cures. So if you get a vaccine, it just means you can still get COVID, but you won't die. You know what I'm saying? That's like, that's it, because people just think that it's some kind of magic bullet that, once you get it, the world goes back to normal. But that's
Right.
not the cases. But I think that it's a personal choice. And for me, I like my odds better with getting it than I do with not getting it, because it's time for me to travel. I'm tired of staying in the house. I need to get on a plane and go somewhere. So that's it for me.
And see, CC, I'm with you, because I'm ready to get out the house, but then the media and everything else hypes up. All right, the doctor got the shot and now he died, or such and such got this and they having such complications. That's where I think I'm more torn at, and I think that may be other people's issue too, because they put out different vaccine.
I think people's issue is this all these theories is going on. That's what people's issues is. People listen to all these conspiracy issues going on, and I look at it like this: you see all these white people breaking their neck to get this vaccine. So if these white people is breaking their neck to get this vaccine, trust me, it ain't but so bad. Because trust me,
I don't believe white is right.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that too.
But they ain't gonna get it if they let me do my thing. Let me segue in, because we down our last 4 minutes, and I always like to close off. I do want to hit you with this. They said somebody got the vaccine and died. I do want y'all to know 500,000 people didn't get it, and they're dead.
True.
500,000 people have died from this thing. I don't know about the 1 or 2 that got it and died, but I know about that 560,000. They got to work for that. 500,000. 500,000 people have died all over the world from this thing. Let's close out how we do. Gina Lee, closing thoughts.
There's a saying that says sometimes the greatest. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Sometimes the greatest way to say something is to say nothing at all. Fact. But I can't do that because my ancestors won't let me.
Okay.
I like that.
I like that. I'm using that.
That's an awesome answer. Al, take us in. Closing thoughts.
All I can just say, hey, just stay positive. If you think positive things coming to you, positive things will happen. And that's it.
Perfect. Frank and Brittany, close us out.
I'm gonna say, be able to listen, stay consistent, and be willing to lose to win. Keep your eye on the prize.
Lose the win. I like that. Frank?
I'm with her.
Good answer.
Yeah, hey, Frank, that's what works with me.
Be.
All right, CC, bring us home, baby.
Okay. My closing thoughts are this: that I think that we should. First of all, I'm so happy that Frank and Brittany joined us, because they had a really wonderful blueprint, and I hope that more young people can really listen to what they said and take heed. And on the vaccine, I like to just say that people, do your own homework. Do your own research, and don't believe everything that you see on YouTube. Don't believe everything that you see on Facebook, because some of these things are designed to keep us from doing the things that we really should do. So it's a lot of misinformation out there. Anybody can put something on social media, so that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. But find credible resources and do your own homework.
Bullet points as we go home. Me being the quarterback, always remember some of our topics. Gina Lee topic. If I didn't learn nothing else, I learned that even in 1956, in my lifetime, we were still dealing with segregated swimming pools. In my lifetime, people were still dealing with segregated swimming pools. Cece told us that $27 million was awarded to the George Floyd family, which is a great thing. But they're trying to use whatever they can so that it doesn't stick. Okay, Al told us your main thing. Go through the motions. Do what you need to do. Gina, Al, everybody, Frank to the new panel. Excellent job, Frank and Brittany. Hey, y'all, I always leave with the same thing because this is my chance. My favorite song, that rapper, I don't care if he's white, black, or green, Eminem. You got to lose yourself with the music, the moment. You got to own it. You got to never let it go. I only got one shot, and I did not miss or chance my chance or blow. This opportunity came once in a lifetime, yo. BlackUSA.News, Donnie Glover, BeMoreNews.com. Donnie Glover, please support this. See y'all next Tuesday. I'm Marty, 7 o'clock. Good night. To God be the glory. Thanks, panel.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks, you all.